Oh, this sucker's electrical. But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
What did I just say?
The flux capacitor stores... This sucker's electrical. But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts! Great Scott! What the hell is a gigawatt?
Great Scott!
Welcome to the Rhythm Section, a Memphis music podcast produced by SRP Studios Podcasting, srpstudiosllc.com.
Catch new episodes every Tuesday morning on Apple and Spotify, 6 p.m. Central on YouTube and Facebook, and 7:30 p.m. on radio-memphis.com.
And as always, follow us at therhythmsectionpod.com for all channel links and episodes. And yes, from the studio to the stage, the Rhythm Section podcast is turning 100. Join us as we celebrate our 100th episode with a special episode filmed in front of a live audience at Rooster's Blues House Highland, right here in Memphis.
This celebration is on Saturday, June 7th. Doors open at 3 p.m. Showtime is 3:30 to 5 p.m. Located at 535 South Highland Street. Best of all, you don't pay anything.
That's right. Please click our event link in the description and reserve your seats now by calling 901-430-9890. Please join us in this milestone moment in Memphis music podcasting.
We only use about 1.19 gigawatts here.
What's a gigawatt?
No idea.
Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Derek. With me today is my good friend, Jeff Ward.
Oh, yeah!
Bringing in the heat today. Coming in like this.
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. Boy, we have a great interview today. Again, all are great.
Yes.
But Chris Hinkle from Midnite Train, plays some Skynyrd, and the Boneyard, came in the studio a few weeks ago and told us some really cool stories.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more about those after the ad break. And next week, Charmaine Tyrell.
I enjoyed that interview.
Yeah,
very much.
He's the lead singer and kind of owns CT and the Vibe Tribe, but he's a brand. He's his own thing, and he's an artist and plays in a lot of different projects and lifelong church musician and singer and vocalist. And he took us to church. Yeah, very positive, man. If you want to hear some positive motivation and mindset, check out next week. Check out Charmaine next week. So, all right, Jeff. First, before we get into the meat here, how are you? You played Gold Strike last night as we record this.
I'm tired.
Tired? Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun though.
Well,
shout out to Cameron and Kristen.
Okay.
At Gold Strike, always so professional, always so quick to respond to emails and questions, and just amazing with helping with the band. Anything you need when you get there, they're all over it, and it's just a great place to play.
It's nice having that support.
It is.
For sure. I watched WWE Backlash last night, and just so you know, John Cena has retained his Universal Championship.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Now, is he a babyface or a heel right now?
He's a heel right now.
Okay.
Which is a big deal.
Gotcha.
Big deal. Some people hate it.
Right. He just woke up one day and decided to be an asshole.
Oh, that's a long story. That's for another podcast that I haven't pushed out in a while.
Right.
But anyways, so great weekend. I hope you all had a great weekend. Today, we're going to talk about Tommy Cathey.
Nice.
He reached out to me several weeks ago about his new album, The Watchmen, and asking if we could help promote it.
Right.
And at that time, it wasn't completely published yet. It wasn't on all the digital platforms. They're still working on the website. And I was like, absolutely, we will absolutely help you, but let me know when everything's ready.
Right.
Well, folks, everything is ready. So we're here to talk about Tommy Cathey and his new album, The Watchmen. So by now, I'm going to throw up some pictures so you can see the CD.
Right.
You can go to Watchman Memphis.com. It's not Watchmen.
Okay.
It's Watchman.
Gotcha.
Okay. WatchmanMemphis.com. There you can purchase the CD. Plus, it has all the links to all the different platforms it's on: Apple, Spotify, everywhere you can be. So check that out. Great website. Gives you all the information.
Right.
So me and Jeff, of course, listened through this stuff, and it was great. We loved it. My takeaway was that I feel like Tommy's vocals sound like a young Greg Raleigh.
Nice.
And for those that might not know who Greg Raleigh is, listen to the song Black Magic Woman from Santana. That was Greg Raleigh. That was the keyboard player, founding member of Santana, not Carlos.
Right.
A lot of, sometimes people might think Carlos Santana sang all that stuff. It wasn't. It was Greg Raleigh.
Right.
And then Greg Raleigh also formed Journey with Neil Schon. So you go to listen to the first couple Journey albums, and I think it sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I
got a Steely Dan kind of vibe. And earlier I mentioned to you the other artist I mentioned, Steve. Shit. God. Anyway.
You don't remember my name?
Anyway, But yeah, Steely Dan and that other guy.
Do we want to take a second to think about it?
No, I don't. That's what happens when you play a gig the night before until 1 in the morning.
The music's a good balance. Some songs are ballady and more slower, and then some are just straight up good, funky rock and roll.
Right.
Great bass work, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
From Tommy Cathey.
For sure. And Bill Marshall, the other half of the rhythm section, is not a slouch either.
That's right. So he's going to come up here. He's one of 2 drummers on the album. But first, it was written and arranged by Tommy Cathey and David Beaver, produced by Tommy Cathey, David Beaver, and Wes Henley, recorded, mixed, and mastered at Dreamscape Studio in Jackson, Tennessee.
Right.
And engineered by Wes Henley. You're going to hear a lot of these names repeated here. So, of course, all bass and all vocals is Tommy. Keys, David Beaver. Guitar, Wes Henley. And drums is a mixture of Bill Marshall and Joel Williams.
Right.
So check it out. Go to watchmanmemphis.com and learn all about this album. And then I also implore you to go to TommyCatheymusic.com. And boy, if you want to learn about his career,
oh yeah, it's lengthy.
Oh my God, he's got it all in there. All the different artists he's toured with, played with, recorded with, whatever. Just this entire timeline of his career, as you would probably imagine, lengthy,
right,
and in depth.
And if you do,
some big names on there.
If you do go listen to this or do any of this because you heard it from us, please tell Tommy that you heard it from us, because this is kind of what we do, and I'd love for Tommy to know that you went and heard it because these 2 idiots told you to.
Yeah, but so Tommy, thank you for reaching out.
Yeah,
and trusting us to help you with this. It's an honor.
Absolutely.
To know you now. He was on the show a while back.
Right.
Look in the archives. Tommy was on the show back in our old studio. And boy, he came with stories. He was a great guest. And for you to reach out to us and let us have this opportunity to collaborate with you is awesome. We're very blessed and honored and humbled that you would do that with us. So thank you. Again, watchmanmemphis.com. That link is in the description. All right. Pay attention, bands. Are you ready to take your show to the next level? David Griffin Audio brings big sound, bright lights, flames, and sparks to every event.
Experience the largest QSC system in the area with David Griffin Audio. No job is too big or too small. Follow on Facebook at David Griffin Audio for updates.
Call 901-299-1344 or email davidgriffinaudio@gmail.com. Bring the energy, bring the show. David Griffin Audio. From eye-catching branded mugs and tumblers, Katrina Owens brings your vision to life with high-quality vinyl and sublimation designs, all handcrafted with care.
Whether it's for a birthday, business, or just because, Creations for You has got you covered.
Call Katrina today at 901-870-1854 and let her create something just for you. Images creations for you at yahoo.com. Now, do you need custom images and logos for said mugs and tumblers, along with shirts, magnets, and stickers? Then look no further than Images for You. Steve Owens delivers top-notch DTF and sublimation designs perfect for brands, businesses, and of course, podcasts. We use them for everything. Images for you. Bring your brand to life. You look confused, Jeff.
You read my part.
Oh, I did. I did, didn't I?
I was confused. Call Steve
There
today
you go.
at 901-870-6846 and let your image speak loud and clear. Image, hang on, I've never done this before. Images creations for you at yahoo.com.
Same one as Katrina. My bad. I look over and you look confused. I'm like, is Jeff on the wrong page? What's going on here? No. I just muscled right through that.
There you
didn't I?
go. That's all good. DeSoto Local is a digital advertising network throughout DeSoto County. They have moved the outdoor billboard concept indoors to high-traffic areas, connecting local businesses to their customers.
So are we switching spots now? All right. The indoor billboards are in popular places all over town. These screens display full-motion ads about the business, hosting screen ads for local businesses in the area, and relevant local content.
Advertise your business with DeSoto Local. Contact Brandy Faulkner today at 901-831-3212 and visit DeSotoLocal.biz for more information. Area 51 is one of the premier bands in Memphis and North Mississippi, bringing you songs from classic artists such as Duran Duran, Yes, Boston, and Styx. Keep shining with Josh Shining.
Upcoming shows, Saturday, May 17th at Neshoba, 9 p.m. start. And then Friday, May 23rd, Hadley's, 8 p.m. start. Follow them on Facebook at Area 51 Memphis. Now, are you looking for the best live music in Memphis? Well, the Musicians Booking Agency connects top bands with the city's hottest venues. Whether you're booking talent or looking for gigs, they've got you covered.
Follow on Facebook at the Musicians Booking Agency for updates on upcoming shows and new artists.
Contact Steve Owens at 901-870-6846. Kick them off, Jeff.
Shows for this week. Wednesday, May the 14th, Island 45 will be at Roosters.
Friday, May 16th, Grand Theft Audio, Hadley's, and Gen X at Neshoba.
Saturday, May the 17th, Your Mom's New Boyfriend, still love the name, at Roosters, formerly known as at Neil's. New t-shirts will be available.
Yeah.
Victoria Pride at 10th Inning, and 30-Minute Ego at Southland Casino.
Okay, we have a Sunday, May 18th, Grace Springs Fellowship at Hadley's, starting at 10:30 with Pastor Dave. That's every other Sunday that you can go there and worship with Pastor Dave.
Nice.
And everybody else at Hadley's. School of Rock is going to be performing at Roosters sometime during the day.
Okay.
I did not get a time on that. All right, and then now a special announcement here. So we got Hadley's Cares fundraiser for Elise Clemmer from 5 to 9 featuring the Boneyard.
Nice.
Now here's a little story on Elise and why this benefit is happening. Elise was born severely premature at just 28 weeks, weighing only 2 pounds. She was later diagnosed with PVL, leading to spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy, which affects all 4 limbs, her speech, and is accompanied by epilepsy. Elise now has a chance at life-changing treatment called neurocytonics, but it's not covered by insurance. Her family must travel to Monterrey, Mexico. Monterrey. Sorry, Elise. Monterrey, Mexico, for a 32-day medical cycle costing $50,000, not including travel, lodging, food, or lost wages. Join us in supporting Elise and her incredible family at Hadley's on Sunday the 18th with a performance by the Boneyard. There'll be raffles and a bucket drive. Let's rally behind this little brave warrior. Elise, we're all praying for you.
Absolutely, and I've got to say this community has come together time and time again for a lot of amazing things. I can't think of anything that could possibly be bigger or more important than what Derek just read.
Yeah, so good on Hadley's and John Jacobs, good on Rick Hale, good on the Boneyard
Absolutely.
for providing the entertainment for this, good on Steve Owens for helping promote this with us, and so many other names I'm sure that we don't know and that we're missing. But yeah, like you said, this community steps up every time.
All right, looking ahead, Sunday, May the 25th, Sunday Originals at Rooster's Blues House on Highland, 6 to 9 p.m. They're going to have Five for the Kill, The Half of It, and the Hayden, Hunter, and the Yearly Trials.
And then Saturday, July 5th, the 4th of July blowout at Minglewood in the 1984 lounge. So the location again has changed.
1884.
What did I say?
1984.
Oh my goodness. Well, here's what's funny is as I was editing last week's episode, I said the date was June 5th. Oh,
We're there. We're good.
so July 5th, 1884 lounge.
Yep.
At Minglewood Hall, the 4th of July blowout. Doors open at 7, show at 8, $20 tickets for Roxy Blue, Every Mother's Nightmare, and Fever Tree. July 5th. July 7/5.
5th
July 5th.
of 2025.
2025. Because we're thriving in 25
There you go.
and shining with Josh Shining.
Ah, yes, we are.
Okay, Chris
Chris
Hinkle.
Hinkle.
Oh, button was not pushed. There we go. Chris Hinkle came in with some stories, y'all.
Yeah, he did.
And boy, if you want to hear some amazing stories about not only the stage stop, but specifically Wayne Swinny, man, they're great.
Yeah.
And emotional and heartfelt. We have the real tender moment with Chris. So Chris was very generous with sharing these stories, and we thoroughly enjoyed them. Again, as we mentioned on the front end, if you're not familiar with Chris Hinkle, he's the guitar player for a bunch of bands. We got Midnite Train, who he's been with for several years.
Right.
Played some Skynyrd, a few years there, and then the latest one is the Boneyard, which quickly blew up in this market, and it quickly became a go-to band for people.
Quite simply because of two things: the level of talent at every position in that band, and the song selection.
Yeah,
They're
they've
awesome.
found their niche.
Yep.
You know, they've changed it up where they're playing a lot of stuff that you're not going to hear other bands play.
Right.
So we learn all about those bands and how he got involved with them. His first gigs, his early influences, but then there's another great story about how it entered his brain and soul, like, oh, I can be a musician too. It's a really funny story, you know. I'll let him tell it better than me, but it's basically he has a friend in school. We're talking 9-year-olds here, and his buddy was playing guitar out in the porch, and he was like, "You play guitar?"
Yeah.
And realized that you don't have to be an adult to play guitar.
Chicks dig it.
Chicks dig it. That's a song I used to play all the time.
That's
with
really
Derek
why Chris
Joseph.
picked up the guitar.
Who sang that song? Do you remember?
Chris Cagle.
Chris Cagle.
Look at me go.
Look at you, but you couldn't remember the other singer from
right.
earlier.
Knowing my country library, I've got all that down. Donna Fault loves country music, by the way.
Yes, she does. And wrestling.
What you gonna do?
Alrighty. Short and sweet today. So, Chris Hinkle, thanks for doing the show with us today and telling all these amazing stories. But first, we got to talk about Big Note Music Lessons and what they offer, which is one-on-one and group lessons for guitars, bass, keys, drums, and voice. Try a free lesson, no obligation. Visit bignotemusiclessons.com and complete that submission form for your free lesson.
Yeah, start your Radio Memphis day with In the Morning with Rick and Monica from 9:30 to 2 p.m. Central for a wild ride of fun segments like News from the Stupid, That Guy, This Guy, Crime Time, and more. Radio-memphis.com.
And again, join us as we're going to be celebrating our 100th episode with a special live recording filmed in front of a live audience at Rooster's Blues House, Highland, Saturday, June 7th at 3:30 p.m. Find that event link in the description.
Josh Haynes has told me he's going to come shirtless. Just saying. Thank you to all who have donated. You can donate to our tip bucket by clicking our Venmo and CashApp links in the description, or search the Rhythm Section Pod on either app.
And follow us at therhythmsectionpod.com. There you'll find all of our episodes, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram links. All right, Jeff, as always,
Yeah, man.
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
We've got some interviews coming up here. We got the Rustin Haven guys coming in later, so looking forward to that. But right now, for you watching and listening, please enjoy our interview with Mr. Chris Hinkle.
Ain't got no gas in it.
The way Alan says that, man, have y'all heard him say
Oh,
that?
absolutely.
I haven't heard him.
Gas. He does it. Man, it sounds just like the guy.
It was Keith Blanchard that picked on him during Keith Blanchard is how we know Alan as Pex.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys call him Pex?
No, but I've heard that before.
I think that was a Grand Theft Audio
thing
for him.
I don't know if Keith started that or Josh, but
probably Josh. Probably Josh. And what a great way to start the show, everyone.
Right.
Welcome to the interview, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Hinkle in the house.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, man. So cool having you
How
here.
y'all doing?
Thanks for coming in.
Thank y'all, man.
Yeah. So what part of town are you coming in from?
Kind of over. It's not the greatest part of town, but it's like in between Highland and Graham and off of Summer Avenue.
Okay. Yeah. I used to live on the other side of Highland, Park and Highland.
I got you.
Right on the edge of Orange Mound.
Times have changed.
Yes.
Times are changing.
Yeah. And yes, I used to hear a lot of gunshots in the distance.
has Orange Mound
I
expanded
absolutely
at
did.
all, or is it still the same?
I hear it every night. If you sit on my porch long enough, you'll hear it somewhere.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Well, all right. Obviously, we got Midnite Train, play some Skynyrd, the Boneyard.
And we have been told by multiple people that you're going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
So if you're not,
I'm pressure now.
his pressure is on.
And then you did your homework. You came with some notes talking about your influences and everything, which we'll break all into. But first, thanks for being here and looking forward to learning more about how some of these projects started for you. Of the three that you're playing right now, Midnite Train has been the longest running for you. And
Who's your favorite?
I like them all. You know, they're all really different, and it's just fun because they're so different.
Yeah.
It's not like just doing the same thing over and over. Skynyrd.
Yeah.
They ain't, unfortunately, the classic band ain't writing new stuff, but we play 33, I think, of their songs, and
Wow.
we still get people going, y'all don't do this one, it's crazy how many songs them guys had.
Yeah,
man.
a huge catalog for sure. Well, let's start with Midnite Train. So how we were talking before we turned the mics on, you're trying to figure out when you started, but you're looking around 2020, 2021?
It was right around that COVID era, or right around when the election that Biden won. It was right in that time frame.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you just jumped right in, and
Pretty much,
any history prior to Midnite Train working with Karen, or at the time Alan was on drums, Alan Bone? Was he?
Yeah, Alan was already in there, but I had played. Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Alan was on drugs. It's like I heard drug. I'm like, man, don't call him out like that on the podcast.
That's a whole different show there.
Yeah, it is. That's on Patreon.
I do have some rehab coupons for him though.
Rehab coupons. All right, sorry.
Yeah,
But I'd like when the drummer Rob, he works for Gibson up in Nashville. He was a drummer in one of my bands, and he kind of joined Train, and me and him and David Gregory were playing together, and eventually Rob got Dave into Midnite Train, and they had Jimmy Bridges on guitar, real great guitar player. He's been around forever. He used to be in a band with Tim from Fever Tree called Dots way back in the 80s.
We've heard of Dots.
They were great. I mean, they were, everything them guys did was really, but they had me come over and like sat in with him on a couple of gigs just for fun, you know. And so I did that with him, and that was a couple of years before I ever joined the band. But yeah, I knew him pretty well and everything.
Yeah, so you had some history, like so many players in town.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So when you jump in, obviously David's on bass, you got Alan Bone on drums, of course Karen Dillard up front, and off and running, right? Well,
yes, sir. They had probably 50 songs, and I had played a few of them, but there was some pretty wild ones in there, like Cashmere by Led Zeppelin. That's not no 3-chord, AC/DC song.
Nope.
And a timing thing.
Yeah,
It's a big
So
rhythmic
it was a
timing.
challenge because they had gigs, and they was like, we need you now. I was like, here's 50 songs, learn these. It's like,
Go.
Our gigs next weekend. Yeah.
Well, it worked out because you're still cruising with them.
Yeah.
And the lineup has changed a tad. So
Yeah.
now we have
Tommy
Tommy Barber.
He's a beast, man. He really is. He's a blessing because I knew it was. When you got Alan Bone, it's not the easiest thing just to replace him, especially with his background vocals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's something, and I was just like, man, I was just like, how are we going to replace Alan? And it's, there's only one Alan Bone, but boy, Tommy, man, he's
awesome.
a beast.
Yeah. Yep. And then now you got Brandon Heath.
Yeah.
On bass.
Does Tommy sing at all behind the kit?
If he does, we're
not
not allowed to
Understand.
We're not allowed to hear it.
Well, it is a
It's like
very
me.
special talent to do that.
Yeah, you don't want me singing.
Well, very cool. So, currently, so there was some downtime because of, David Gregory's departure and bringing Brandon in, and then now a whole revamp, right? A whole new set list. I would say you're probably still playing some of the
We
stuff you
kept about
previously.
10 or 15 of the ones that people like or the fun ones or whatever, And every once in a while, if somebody asked for something that last night we played a Billy Joel song we never played ever.
Yeah.
Everybody said, yeah, I've done that before. So we just kind of, so you never know,
Fake it till you make it. Right.
Yeah.
Well, so now we're talking, let's say 2021. So you're a solid 4 years in with them?
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, for sure.
Somewhere around there.
4 to 5, something like that going on it.
So now you're the longest tenured in the band, outside of Karen, of course.
Dave was in there about 7 years.
Well, as far as the current lineup.
Yeah.
You're the veteran in the band now.
I'm the guy now.
Yeah. Well, when David was in here, he'd been there longer before you and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's awesome. You guys are playing Roosters now. You're still doing like Hadley's and the sidecars, right?
Yeah, we played the 10th inning last night, man. They've got some out of town stuff. We played a couple of places like the Crossing, in over Mississippi. We played a casino in Arkansas, and that's a different thing. Have y'all done that?
The south one?
Yeah,
I have. Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's nothing like a bar. It's just you're kind of like a jukebox.
Right.
And every once in a while, you might get 2 or 3 people up there that sit there for a song or two or something.
Yeah. And what's really fun is when they have those announcements. Did you get stuck in that trap?
Yeah.
Casinos are notorious for this. They're like on the top of every hour, you have to stop playing, and because they have to read out names for some contest.
Yeah.
But they won't schedule the band sets around it. So in the middle of the song, they expect you to stop.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't. We've been lucky. They didn't nobody told us you need to stop, but we heard that happening. But other times it's just been, we were in between sets and we heard that stuff.
Yeah.
But we've been playing and I've heard it. Pizza rolls on aisle 2 or whatever they're talking about. I can't tell, it's like Charlie Brown's teacher. I can't tell what they're talking.
Yeah, well, when we played Gold Strike, we didn't have that problem. They didn't ask us to stop. But I haven't done
a lot of casinos are notorious for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if we can't hear it?
Right.
And they'll get upset if you didn't stop. I didn't hear it.
I could hear it, but we're in the middle of the song. It's like nobody's telling us. Nobody told us. So we apologize if we were supposed to stop and anybody's listening.
Hey, if no one told you, then no apologies needed. Well, play some Skynyrd. Now, I finally caught a show way too late. But my friends, LaShawn and Melanie, was that night at Neil's that they sang some backups.
Oh man, that's the first time we ever had backups, and we didn't practice or nothing, and it's obvious they did their homework, and it was just a trip, man, because of course I knew they were there, but we'd never practiced, we'd never heard it with background vocals or any of that, and it's like I'm up front and they're behind me, and it's when they first started singing, I was like, and the first time I know I kind of just like a little bitty, oops for a second, because it like you said, it startled me. Then I looked back and I was like, oh yeah. So the next time they did something, it's just that sounded so good.
Right.
Yeah.
I turned around and was just looking at him, and I was like, totally forgot that I'm supposed to I was like, I'm just tripping on them, and I got a job to do here. I got to get back to this. But yeah, they were incredible.
Yeah, because the first song that comes to mind is That Smell. You just listen to it in your head, and you're like, oh yeah, it's tons of great female backup vocals in that song. key parts.
Yeah, that
signature
hell
parts.
Yeah, that real high. Hell yeah, part, man. They nailed all
the
that
fabric
stuff.
of the song. So my first time seeing you all, I was spoiled because I had the backup singers. But the band proper, you guys fucking great. And David up front.
Yeah.
Just
he sounds as close to
great.
the dude. I mean, no offense to any of the other tributes or anybody that I've heard, but man, he really. I mean, that's the key to us sounding as authentic as we might.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
And he's a lookalike too. Sometimes, some tribute acts don't really go that direction, but he throws the hat on and he just kind of has the Van Zant mode.
The first few shows, he was barefoot. I don't know why. He
Oh,
stopped.
really?
I have to
There you
ask
go.
him
Now
about
that's
that. You
that's
get in
attention to detail there.
there. Yeah. Now he did. Now I hadn't really thought about it, but I ain't seen him barefoot in a while, so I need to ask him what's up with that.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm sure a lot of people just didn't get it. Why are you barefoot?
Right.
Yes,
But
like,
no,
we
he
just
tore.
tell him fill the tip bucket up, and we can get him, some, so he can afford some shoes.
That's a nice way to bring in the money. Yeah.
And it's got to be odd having someone like you with a northern accent playing a Skynyrd tribute band.
a northern accent.
Yeah, I get asked if I'm a Yankee at least
All the
twice
time.
a day.
Man, if I took you back where I grew up in Maine, they wouldn't understand a word you're saying.
Man, when I hear myself talk like right now, of course I can hear it through these headphones. But when I hear it like recorded and I hear myself back, I'm like, damn, I'm country as hell.
Yeah.
Like I know I am, but I'm way more country than I even realized.
Well, you're going to have a solid 50 minutes to listen to after this is published.
So where are you from originally?
I was born here in Memphis.
Okay.
And what's crazy is the house my mom lives in, when I was born, I was brought home to that house, and then we moved to Parkway Village. But my dad was from Pinson up near Jackson, and I spent a lot of time on a real deal farm. And back in the day, on that, it was called Bear Creek Road, and it's off of 45 bypass and stuff. And back then, there was a church and like 3 houses on that whole stretch, and my family owned like about a mile of it. And in the original Walking Tall movie, the opening car chase where they shoot his wife, all that stuff was shot right in front of our house on the road.
Right.
And my
That's
grandmother, all she did was do stuff in the garden and cook and clean. That's it. So the actors wasn't there. It was just 2 stunt drivers. The real actors wasn't there to do those scenes. But it was like 70. I was about 5 years old. And I just remember sitting on the front porch watching them drive the cars up. And they wasn't really going as fast as it kind of looks.
Sure. Have you seen the original Walking Tall? Great movie. I met Buford's daughter.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I did the tour of the house down there or whatever.
I didn't do that. I met her in a freaking Sam's Club.
Oh.
Susan, my wife, and I were walking through Sam's Club, and you know how they'll set up little displays trying to sell things or whatever. Well, we walked by this table, and there's a table set up with a big stick laying on it and a book, and the stick made me do a double take. So I look, and I'm like, oh, that's a book about Buford Pusser. I approached her, and she told me who she was, and she autographed a book for me and everything. It was pretty cool because I've always loved that movie.
It is a trip, man. I mean, it's a little stretch, some of the stuff for Hollywood, you know, but it's a trip. But they shot that scene, and my grandmother like cooked for the film crew and the stunt drivers and stuff.
Nice.
And there was it was a small little setup. I think there's like 2 cameramen, an assistant, and 2 stunt drivers. It was pretty low back in the day, but so that's...
Most people's eyes are probably glossed over. They don't know who this is or who we're talking about. Buford Pusser was a sheriff in Tennessee, McNairy County, Tennessee, right on the state line of Mississippi and Tennessee, out close to where my farm is.
Okay.
And back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of illegal stills and whiskey, and he...
Gambling.
Yep. And he went on a quest to end all the bad stuff that was going on in that area, and they killed him.
There's a lot of people that loved him, and there's a lot of people that thought he was crooked and all that. I don't.
Yeah.
But going to his house and seeing like the vet that he crashed and all that, it's just pretty tripping. Just sitting right there, just looking at it, you know.
Yeah, I say they killed him. The theory is that they tampered with his car and caused him to wreck. and he got killed in a car accident.
Yeah. So this one off the tracks.
Sorry.
I want to go back to play some Skynyrd.
Let's do that.
Lord, I apologize.
We're leaving everyone hanging. So let's throw some shine on your bandmates. So,
everybody.
Any of them like Walking Tall?
Sorry. But, man, they're all so great. Steve and Walter, they've been around forever. And
that's your rhythm section.
Yeah.
And they were badass.
Walter is just on top of that stuff, man. He's been through a lot lately.
Is he the drummer or bass player? Drummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just solid. He's just incredible. There's a lot of stuff to Leonard Skynyrd music that people may not realize till you really, really, really start listening to it. It's so layered and so much stuff going on. But
he's an old school feel too.
Yeah,
he's not swinging from the fences, but he knows how to make his snare pop when needed.
Right.
Very dynamic. You can go quiet, but then when it's time to ramp up, it's really
and
cool.
He's fast. He's quick too, boys.
Yeah,
and Rob Parker. I mean, he's just great.
Yeah,
and he's one of them people that he can take any guitar if it's acoustic. It could be a cheap guitar and a basic amp with 4 knobs on it, and he don't need pedals or nothing. And he's just got it.
It's in the hands. It's in the fingers.
He's really just. He's something, man. He's got it.
And then Steve on bass, solid.
Steve Spear.
And a hell of a rhythm section. Like, next season we need them together.
Yeah, for sure.
The rhythm section interviews the rhythm section.
Man.
It'd be great.
Yeah. And Tim Plunk on keys. He's been around a long time, and man, he's good with like banter and stuff. He's good with that. Man, he knows a bunch of others. He knows so many songs, but that ballroom style kind of stuff, it's everybody just don't do that.
That piano is critical in Skynyrd.
Yeah,
it's critical. Yeah. We've all slammed our way through Sweet Home Alabama, and 4-piece band, sometimes 3-piece band. You don't have the piano, and you get through the song. People recognize it, they enjoy it. But when you add the piano parts, if you want to be a tribute band, you need that piano.
And we never had, like I said, those backgrounds, but that's another song that they just killed it the other night on Sweet Home Alabama. All that background, man. It's crazy how much it adds to it.
And I've never dug into Skynyrd, but like everybody, I've played Sweet Home Alabama God knows how many times, and probably never correctly.
Yeah, neither have I. Yeah. I'm a pretty stickler when it comes to trying to play stuff like the record, but Sweet Home is always that song where you just, it's 3 chords, go.
Somebody requests it in the audience, and you want to do the best you can to give them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
But these guys hit all the licks. Because if you really sit back and listen to Sweet Home Alabama, it's harder than you think. If you really want to get the right little licks in there.
We're not probably doing it exactly. We're just layering it similarly to their feel and style. But, I've never been the kind of guitar player that can just do something exactly like it is on the album, because I don't understand what I'm doing. I technically don't know nothing. Like, if you say play a scale in A minor, I could do brain surgery just as good. But if I hear it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And, if I hear a wrong note, that's how I learn. If it sucks, don't do that again.
Don't go back to that note.
I couldn't tell you what it is.
Well, clearly you have a strong ear, because you sound great on all the projects you're in.
I sure appreciate it. I always am my own worst critic, because, man, I know every show there's a mistake, and we're all, other than Josh Haynes, everybody's human. But
yeah, he is an alien. That man is an alien.
Else,
Yes, he is for sure.
I've told him before, as soon as I get home, I'm throwing my stuff in the dish, when I watch him play.
There's several drummers I feel that way about in town, so I just keep doing my thing half-assed and hope somebody likes it.
Or don't throw too much fruit or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't bring that half-assed bullshit to Back in Time now, my friend.
Oh,
Yeah, all right. So then now the Boneyard is the most recent project for you, but now you guys been together for probably a year or so, right?
Yeah,
It's been a minute.
We've been out for about a year or so, and we were together a few months before we ever did a show. So it may be pushing 2 years, but we ain't been out that long. We might have done like 10 shows, something like that.
Yeah.
What kind of, name off some of the bands that you cover in Boneyard, because you guys go deeper, right?
Well, we do stuff like I can't even think of the artist, but Fooled Around and Fell in Love. You know, that old classic, almost Motown.
Yeah.
And we do like Maiden and Priest, and we do stuff like Warrant and. Man, I can't even think. April, no, I'm so.
Were you going to say April Wine?
Yeah, but that's another band. But it's like, see, I know not to say Skynyrd, but you know, we do everything. Dio, Sabbath, Ozzy, you know, classic Ozzy with Randy Rhoads, some Van Halen. Just it's all over the place.
And you can do these songs because of your singer.
Yeah,
And what's his name again?
Nick. It's Corey Nix. He's been called a lot of things, and I can't say some of the things he's been called. But now Nix, he is something else.
He is a beast.
He does this song, and man, I'd never heard him do it. It was at Hadley's a few months ago or something, and somebody came up to him and asked him if he knew this Badlands song. I think it is. And it sounds
Dreams
like
in the Dark, maybe.
No, Alan or some, they could tell you, but it's like he does it just his vocal, just by himself, and it sounds like something you would hear in church. And that, you know, Nick sings in church.
Okay.
And it just, the first time I did it, I thought he was just going to sing just like one line of it, but he sang like 2 or 3 minutes of this beautiful, soulful, this incredible. And you look around, everybody in there was mesmerized.
Yeah.
And I showed Alan, man, I had chill bumps like dad gum. And he just will do it every once in a while. And every time he does it, it does the chill bump thing.
Right.
And then you forget to play again.
Well, we're just all sitting there when he's doing that. 'Cause it's just him.
Yeah. And he plays keys as well, right?
Yeah.
In essence, the rhythm, 3/5 of Every Mother's Nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got Alan Bone on the drums,
Yeah.
obviously.
Troy on bass.
Troy Fleming,
Yeah,
is that it?
yeah.
And what's the guitar player's name?
John Gunnery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And man, great
Yep.
band.
Yeah, all these guys they're all fun, and we joke. It's fun, you know. It's just we're always, you know, at practice and stuff. You know, just fun. You know, we talk about the silliest stuff, and
Plus playing music that your other two bands don't do, but in general, not a lot of bands are doing this stuff. You guys have found a different niche. There's always going to be some overlap with the amount of bands in town.
yeah.
But you guys have your niche for sure too.
When Alan, you know, he pretty much started, and it's something that he'd been wanting to do, and it's Alan's idea, but we were like, oh man, let's just play stuff. Let's not play stuff that everybody else is playing.
Right.
Let's try to find stuff that everybody knows, but everybody's not playing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the key. And then doing it well, then that's when people show up.
We all love heavy stuff, and we're trying to do some of that because there's just not a ton of that right now.
Yeah.
You know, Memphis has went through so many changes since I've been doing this. It's just at one point you couldn't get a gig if you played covers. They wanted original music.
Yeah.
It's just weird, and I still have a desire to do some original stuff, you know. And right now, you know, I'm sure I couldn't name everybody, but like Fever Tree and the Fast Mothers, they're great Memphis music, you know.
Yeah.
And they're totally different, but they're great. Both bands are great, you know. And it's like, I don't know what happened, you know.
None of us do. None of us know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was here during the heyday when it was all originals, you know, and then it just went away, and now it's all covers.
There was a time where if you could, they wanted to hear original music. Like if you went downtown to the Daisy on a weekend, you may not even know who's playing, but you'd see 3, maybe 5 bands, and there'd be 500 kids in there, and the bands, it may not be your style, but they were good. Right. And it's just, the times is just so different because now, you know, back then, any club you played, it was packed. That's just how it was.
Right.
Yeah. I think there's two things. You know, over time, the clubs realized they wanted to go covers because it shifted somehow for the audience, right? They wanted to hear the covers. And in turn, over time, I'm sure a lot of musicians that were heavy into writing were like, what's the point?
Right.
You know, what's the point? We're not going to be able to play anywhere.
Yeah.
Which then, when you look at Every Mother's Nightmare, you know, Fast Mothers, Fever Tree, Roxy Blue, still doing it, it's such a huge commitment, and good on them for, you know what, we're still wanting to be creative and have fun and put a ton of work in for little exposure.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so good on them that they're trying to keep it alive too. But I think that's why bars don't want to book it as much, but I think there's probably less writing. I could be ignorant in saying that because there's so many people that probably are writing, but you don't see them. You don't hear from them.
Yeah.
You don't hear about them.
I think the industry as a whole contributed to this too, because back in the day that we're talking about, bands felt like if they put in the time and the energy, they actually had a shot of doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that bands feel that way anymore.
No, it's a long shot. I mean, it was
the-
already a long shot.
It was a long
but
shot
now
then,
it's
but
like,
now it's like 1 in a
you
5 billion.
you may hit the lottery faster, or get
And-
your picture took in between Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster or something.
And making it now is even different than it was then. If you made it then, hey, there were money advancements. There was something there. Now making it means your shit's on YouTube and.
Yeah, they're looking at
You know.
TikTok stars and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Looking at numbers. Do you already have reach? Okay, let's talk.
Right.
That type of thing.
It's unfortunate.
Which is unfortunate. But look, talking about old school original days in Memphis, of course, you think Stage Stop. So, Chris, do you have history with Stage Stop?
Oh my gosh!
Let's go. Let's talk Stage Stop then.
Well, man, I knew. All right, Wayne Swinny. Back in the day, like I had been playing guitar for a little while, a couple of years. Like I was playing in bands, but I didn't even have a driver's license yet. So I didn't know who Wayne was, but I was riding my bicycle around the neighborhood, and I heard a band practicing, and I was a big Eddie Van Halen fan, and even to this day, for years I would not even try to play Van Halen because I thought. Nobody can do it like Eddie, so I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear me do it. I don't want to hear nobody do it. But I was such an Eddie freak. So I'd play anybody but Van Halen. But anyway, and the people I heard, they were even great guitar players, but that just wasn't Eddie Van Halen. I had this weird mindset.
I don't think that's necessarily weird.
No.
A lot of people feel like Eddie Van Halen is the greatest to ever pick up a guitar, so I understand.
Yeah, man, and I had heard some people, like I said, be great players, but they played a Van Halen song, but it just didn't sound like Eddie. It was like kind of like a letdown.
Right.
So, man, I was just riding, and I heard this great band playing, which ended up being T&A or whatever back in the day. And I was like, the guitar player is amazing, and wherever they were practicing, I rode my bike around to the window where I could hear that guitar better, and I'm like, I got to know who this guy is because they played some Van Halen. It was like great, and I was like, I just want to see who this guy is. So I was like, I saw him leave with his guitar case. I was like, that's the bass guy, He don't have a case. He must be the singer, whatever,
Right.
So I saw the guitar player guy, and I was like, look at his car. And I was like, I've seen that car. So I just knew all of a sudden, like, that dude's awesome. Like, and I want to meet him. That's his car. Like, I want to be able to play like him one day and all this. So I learned the band's name was T&A, and I'd hear radio commercials for the Stage Stop. Well, we raced BMX, back in Kennedy Park area right over there by there anyway. And there was some trails. There was a Wheeler Dealer bike shop right across the street where we all hung out. So we knew about the Stage Stop. We were just too young.
Yeah.
So when I would hear, T&A's playing the Stage Stop, I would ride my bicycle up there and stand out. Back then, those glass windows, you could see inside. They didn't have curtains. So you could see the band from their backs on the stage.
Right.
And Sweeney would always play on the side that I play on, which is the side Eddie played on or whatever. If you're looking at it, it'd be on the right side. So, man, I was like, when I knew he was playing, I'd ride my bike up there. Well,
That's
several
cool.
times, Nita would come outside and just run me off. Like, get out
of here, punk.
Yeah. and she did that. And I knew her name was Nita. I don't even remember how I knew that. But I knew that was the owner, and her name was Nita. And I didn't think she was mean, but, she was like, get your little scrawny ass out of here, And she did that a few times. And then finally, I told Nita, just like this, I said, Nita, I'm not doing nothing. I said, I'm a guitar player. I said, Wayne lives in my neighborhood. He's my favorite guitar player. I love hearing him play, and I'm just sitting here listening. I said, you won't see me here if he's not playing. I said, if you start thinking about it, I'm here when Wayne plays.
Right.
And she goes, well, if your little ass is going to be out here, if you see anything that's like somebody doing something, you stick your head in the door and let me know. And then from then on, every once in a while, she like bring me a Coke or some French fries or something. And
awesome.
I told her one day I'm going to play in here.
Yeah.
That's
So,
great.
you know, that was like home. I mean, man.
Another great Nita story because, you know, that a lot of stories came out after she passed.
And a great Wayne Swinny story.
Yeah.
Do you remember, do you know all the names of the people in TNA? Because I do not.
They had some members change, like Kelly, you know, bass player Kelly.
Okay. I know, wasn't the lead singer's name is Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff, and I think it's Jeff Hoare. Or I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Sorry, Jeff, if I butchered your last name. But yeah, and I don't know who the drummer was.
Eddie Matlock. He was incredible.
Okay.
That dude was a real rock star, and anybody that knows him, y'all know what I'm talking about.
They were great.
People that were Tommy Lee wanted to be Eddie.
Sure.
I mean, he wasn't acting. He was a freaking rock star.
I never saw them at Stage Stop, but I did see them at Night Moves, and they put on one hell of a show.
Eddie, man, you would not want him to play your drums. Like, have you ever heard them stories?
He beat them like they owed him money.
When he would hit a cymbal, you could just see it spazzing out. Like it wasn't just a normal. He would beat the crap out of the drums, man.
So at some point, you obviously meet Wayne, right? So what's the story behind first finally meeting him?
Well, Joey.
And were you starstruck?
Yeah, I mean, man, I'd seen him then. Like, I'd been in, you know, by the time I met him, a good friend of mine, Big Jim Bridges, we played in a band together. There's two Jim Bridges. There's Jim Bridges that played in Dots and Jim Bridges that was 6'6".
Okay.
But, so, you know, they were friends. They were the same age. Wayne was like 5 or 6 years older than me. And, I played in some bands with Jim, so man, it's like I just ended up hanging out with him, and I specifically will remember it was after Nirvana got popular and the hair bands was kind of going out and stuff. We were sitting at Wayne's house. It was an all-nighter. It was me and Wayne and Big Jim and Wayne's wife Joy, and she went to my school, and they dated when she was still in school, and I would, you know. I used to trip on that, like, damn, Joey's dating the baddest ass guitar player in Memphis. You know, I was like jealous or whatever. Like, man, I wish I could be around him all the time or whatever. You know, but so man, I finally got to meet him, and he was real cool. And like, there was one night we were just over there partying all night one night, and we were listening to the band Cry of Love. Have y'all ever heard of them guys? Mm-hmm. Man, they're a great band that put out a couple albums right at the end of hair metal and the start of Nirvana, but it was sounding like Bad Company.
Okay.
I mean, that's what they sound like. It wasn't hair metal. It was pure rock and roll. Mm-hmm. And it was a great album. I mean, anybody that's never heard it, the first album it's called Cry of Love. The name of the album's Brother. Check it out. Every song on the album's killer. And so anyway, we done listened to that CD like 3 times, and Joey came in there, his wife come in there, and she goes, "You're grounded from this CD for at least 24 hours. You're not going to listen to it anymore." But Wayne so he got him, like, we stopped listening. We were just sitting there air guitaring and stuff, jamming, you know, and when we stopped listening to that CD, Wayne goes, "My music is dead." And he just said, nobody's wanting to hear guitar solos no more. They're not cool no more. Hair metal, my stuff's not cool no more. And I was just telling him, dude, this is way back in like the mid '90s or something. And I'm saying, Wayne, you're so good. Like, you'll get discovered. Like, there's no way you're just that good. I said, you just keep being you. And he's like, he was saying shit that night like, man, I'll never stop playing, but I'm not going to be out in bands playing this, you know, no guitar solos, half-tune guitars screaming shit. I'm not going to do that. And I just said, dude, you're Wayne Swinny. You know, the world will know you one day. And I told him that.
Yeah. And they did.
Dude, he crushed it, didn't he?
What he told me is I said this, and that's on one of my notes in here. But I told him that night. I said,
It's all good.
Sorry. I said, man, you'll be on the cover of Guitar Magazine one day. And he goes, shit. He goes, nobody wants to see my big ass schnoz on there. So, flash forward, 10 or 15 years later, there's Wayne Swinny on the cover of Guitar World Magazine. And I called him, I said, whose big ass schnoz is this on this magazine?
That's great.
Yep.
Man,
that's a great story, man.
Amazing story. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. For sure.
For sure. And he blew up, man. Saliva just,
Man, and nobody that really was a giant Saliva fan, y'all, I wish there was videos of him even before that.
Right.
Because when I first heard Rat, Warren DeMartini, he's a badass guitar player. When I first heard Rat's, that EP they put out, there's like 4 or 5 songs. It had You Think You're Tough and some another version of Back for More.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard it the first time, I thought it was Wayne Swinny.
Yeah.
There's a thing that Warren does that Wayne had that same. That's what I'm saying. I don't technically what it's called, but they reminded me of each other. And Wayne could even go past that. I mean, he could play anything. He could play Rush, Van Halen, Ted Nugent, anything. Just perfect, killer, and then do his own thing,
Yeah. I didn't even know when I saw TNA back in the day, I didn't realize that was Wayne Swinny of Saliva. Mm-hmm. I never put 2 and 2 together that was the same player.
Did you see him at Night Moves? You ever? They did some killer shows there.
Yep. Night Moves was, Night Moves and Stage Stop and Rascals. We've talked many times. Those were 3 huge venues here.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you maintain a relationship with Wayne through the years?
Well, when he would go out on the road, like after their first album,
there meaning Saliva.
Yeah. Okay. They were getting real successful and starting to blow up and stuff off their first album. I can't remember which songs was getting all the play, but they were doing all kinds of stuff. So Wayne was just, every once in a while, I would try to catch him if he was here or something, and it was far and few between. And he would always ask about our buddy Jim, like, how's Jim doing? And Jim was struggling a lot during that time, but that's what we would talk about. If I got to see him, we just talk about Jim. But there was one time he came back to the Daisy to do a show, and he said, Joey told me to come up there early. She said, get up here early. And Wayne had just got 2 guitars from Gibson. I can't remember. They were both Les Pauls, but the only one I remembered was one of them was blonde. The whole guitar was blonde, and everything else on it was black. Like it was just different, unique to see a Les Paul like that. And he said, I just got these today. And he's like, check them out. And he was showing me his rig. And like, I got to play that. And I got to spend a few minutes with him there at that show before the Daisy.
Yeah.
And that's the longest I got to talk to him was after the first album, because he's just so damn busy. I never was lucky enough to get to spend any time with him. I'd run into him and say, what's up? We'd talk about Jim for a minute. And
it's a heartwarming story, because when you go back to the very beginning, you're just a kid on a bike stalking him, looking through the window, oh, now I know what he drives. Did you get his license plate number too?
I recognize the car. I can't remember what it is now, but I recognize it from the neighborhood.
Well, that's such a great story.
I don't know if you said this, and I'm squirreled on it, but how old were you at the bike time that you were going up there to Stage Stop?
Probably 15. It was a couple years before I got a driver's license.
Okay.
How old is Wayne? He mustn't have been that much older than you. I mean,
5 or 6 years older.
So he's in his 20s when
he was probably 21. I was 15, something like that. Something about like that.
So now, did you play the Stage Stop?
Oh yeah, countless times in countless bands. Yeah.
So did you?
I slept at the Stage Stop.
Did you and Nita ever have moments where, like, remember Nita when you would kick my ass out.
Oh yeah,
Away from the premises.
Rick would always say that. He would call me Big Daddy. Say, he would say that I was part Chippendale, part Taco Bell. He would come up with all kind of crap,
Rick had a way with words, for sure.
And that was her son, right?
Yeah. He was the DJ there.
Yeah.
Man, they were always busting me out on something. There was one night towards the end of the stage stop, and I had this coat. I don't know how. It was way too big, but it was a cold night out, and I had this coat, and man, I come in, and he just started laughing. We were loading in. There wasn't nobody in there, just him and his mom, and Keith Lyle, I think. We were loading in, and he's like, "Damn, Mama, look at this fool." And I looked like, I don't even know, like a moo. It almost looked like a moo-moo. It was a humongous, crazy looking coat. And I knew it looked silly, but I was laughing.
It's cold.
And he goes, "Man, you know what you need? You need some pink, fluffy house shoes." And he said, "If I go get you some, will you wear them?" I said, "If you go get some, I'll wear them." And that some bitch went and bought me some pink, fluffy house shoes. And I put them on. And I couldn't work the pedals for shit. I said, "Rick, I can't do it, man." I did it for one song, but they were jacked up trying to.
That's funny.
Hitting 3 pedals at once.
Yeah. So I just hung them on the mic stand for the rest of the night.
Well, what was that first project you were in when you played Stage Stop?
Probably Fragile, but I actually can't remember.
Fragile.
You remember that band?
No, I do not.
We had the singer was a girl named Joanne Nagel, and her brother's Tony Nagel, and they already had the band established when I got in it, but we did like a battle of the bands, and it was when Tora. It was down in Handy Park off of Bill Street.
Okay.
And it was like Tora was in it. And when I already knew them, I didn't know them personally, but I'd seen them and they were killer, Right. I thought they were, at the time, I thought they were the best band in Memphis rock and roll, them guys are like up here,
Yeah.
And when I knew they was in the ballad bands, I was like, well, everybody's just going for second place now.
Right.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind they were going to win, and I didn't think my band, we were good, but we ain't tour. These dudes, they're ready,
Right.
So somehow it came down to Fragile and Tora, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think they wanted us to play another song or do something, and they was like, well, it was like $1,000 gift certificate or $500 gift certificate or something, then a recording at Doug Easley or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And if I ain't mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's when they won. They won,
Yeah.
and that's when they recorded Phantom Rider was
Right.
from that, and that was it,
That's
I'm sure
awesome.
we were told that story
Yep.
from John Patterson and
Keith Douglas.
Yeah. But it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Chris, we forget things.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool, though. But yeah, you were right in the mix.
Yeah.
Right in the thick of it.
I've been there, man. The first gig I ever played was the summer of '85, and I didn't have a driver's license yet. And it was at the Madison Avenue Club. And I remember I broke a string, and I didn't have an extra string. And look, there was some guy there that had a string, but it wasn't the right string.
Right.
And I that broke the string like on the second or third song, and it was like, boy, I learned my first gig already hard lessons,
Yeah, bring some damn strings.
Yeah.
Did you wind that string up and just
I
figure
had
it
to.
out?
Yeah, it was the wrong. I think it was like a G string in the D slot or something. It was something crazy. It
Right.
put way more tension on it than it should have been.
Bing, break it again. Well, how many bands do you think you played in? As far not in terms of the Stage Stop time of your life,
But man, I
that
was
played
there.
at Stage Stop.
I was there when the open band night jam started, and we used to have some fun jams with like Scott Sudbury, Tim Reeves, and Big Wayne Walker, and
Nice.
Eddie Matlock. Sometimes I remember him getting thrown off stage a couple times. Boy, needed Eddie been known to have a drink or two. It was hard to get him off stage when he had a little bit too much. And There was one night, and did you remember the suicide drinks? The drink there is called the suicide.
Yeah.
It came in a pitcher, and I don't even remember what I was in. It was like beer and 6 kinds of alcohol or something. And it was like $6 for suicide. If you drank 3 of them, you was, told that's
Just
it.
cooked. Yeah.
So the drinks had been around forever. Now, one night, Eddie, I had a pitcher, and he was already tore up. He's like, "What are you drinking?" And I said, "It's an Eddie Matlock." And he goes, "What?" He kind of got like, what? And I told her, I just said, "This is an Eddie Matlock." And at the time, the bartender's name was Patsy. And, hey, Patsy, if you're listening. But, I told her real quick, I said, "Man, just say that's an Eddie Matlock. Like, just go along with it. It's a suicide. From now on, it's an Eddie Matlock." And there for a while, people's like, "I'll take Eddie Matlock."
And he's like, damn it. Now, did you ever get hit with the water gun? I've been told that Nita would break out the super soaker, right?
Yeah, and I have done devious. I've stole the water gun. I've hidden the water gun. I've emptied the water gun. I've taken a lot of the water gun.
So what deemed getting shot by the water gun? What caused her to finally just get to the point where she wanted to soak you?
She can cuss like a sailor, but she don't want to hear you cuss on the mic. But I think she didn't have a problem with it. She just liked spraying people with the water gun.
That was a good excuse.
But motherfucker would usually get you sprayed pretty quick. We would be
soaked on this show every week.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Like that's if you want to get soaked, say that about 3 times, and by the 4th time you'll be wet. And some people she had a thing about shooting you in the crotch. So and I had to tell her one night she was going for that area, and I'm like, "Nita, I've got an electric guitar right here. Like, don't shoot it in the pickup or something and make me fry right here."
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Like, she had no worry about dosing people's equipment and soundboard and pedal boards. And
I think it wasn't too bad of a dose. This was like a spritz more than anything else. But
get up on that mic.
Come up on the mic.
There you go.
Yeah.
What was that farm animal you did earlier?
Probably, I did quite a few. Yeah, it was I can't do it good this morning. I got a bunch
new sounds. We need to record these.
I know, right? Isolate those things. Well, fascinating. Look, I mean, it's been a minute since we've had deep conversations about the stage stop, and I kind of don't want it to end. Are there any other major stories that stick out?
I got a funny story. There were so many of them.
Please go.
Man, there's probably 20 different bands I played in there up there, but we just going there. You didn't have to be playing. And Wayne Walker, I don't know if anybody knows, but I think that he lived there. I think there was a room or something. I think he got mail there and everything.
Got mail there.
And so it was not uncommon to see Wayne in there. And anybody that don't know Wayne, if it's a night of drinking, man, that dude is hilarious. But he's got like 3 stages. He's got I'm going to crack a joke every now and then while I'm drinking a couple beers. Then once he's drinking a couple beers, he's going to be cracking jokes for a while. But then, at the end of the night, he gets philosophical and will say some crazy stuff, and he'll get his eye to look like the driver of the ambulance in the Cannonball Run. It's like that, and he'll say some philosophical crap that just makes me cry laughing. And then he won't laugh no more. And it's crazy because he's been laughing all night, and he'll switch like this. He'll say something funny and have you piss and laugh, and then he'll just go,
Why are you laughing?
The ingenuity of the equation is somewhat apprehensive.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it's great. So it was one of them nights, but he ain't got to that point yet, and we was all loose, and the stage stop was closed. The door was locked, and the only people left in there was Keith Lyle, me, and Big Wayne, and Nita. So Keith, we were sitting over there by the pool tables just bullshitting. I don't even know what we're talking about, just bullshitting with Nita. And Keith was doing some crap, and Nita goes, "Get them damn PVC pipes from out behind the stage I've been telling you to get for years. Get that shit out of here." And Keith goes, "Right now?" She said, "Yeah." And she said, "If you don't get them, I'm going to beat you with them." So Keith Keith was back there rummaging around, and me and Nate and Wayne, and she kept getting distracted. Like, what is that son of a bitch doing? and she, next thing I know, Keith comes out from behind the back behind there where all that black curtain is. Crap had probably been dust for years, you know.
Right.
Man, he's got these long flapping things of PVC pipe. Man, it's like a stack, 10 of them. So Nita goes over there and he's carrying them, and they're awkward, and he's trying to get it around the building, and it's awkward. And Nita grabs one of them and starts beating him with it, and he just drops them, and he starts running around the pool table, and Wayne starts going, "Kick her in the nuts, Keith! Kick her in the nuts!" I mean, there's 100 of them stories like that.
There's 100 of them stories. I love. Kick her in the nuts.
Yeah, Wayne Walker needs to make an appearance on this show. And I've reached out, and he hasn't replied on Facebook.
We almost had him and Cricket together. But it was another moment where I had to cancel for some reason.
We'll get them.
Yeah.
Them dudes, they work well together. I love watching them two play, man.
I do too.
Yeah, Wayne Walker
comes. Tasteful stuff. Wayne, he's a tasteful guitar player.
His name comes up often. For sure. And I was shocked when we were interviewing Phil and Raleigh Hartzell.
Right.
They had a country band called Country Grammar. And
Dude,
Wayne was in that band.
Was that the old Play Rough guy?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. Man,
and I don't think of Wayne Walker as playing country. I just see him as a rock guitar player, but, he just can play anything, right?
He's got that kind of like... he's got it's a natural Southern feel to where I just think it just comes out of him. I mean, it's just tasteful. His note choices, and I mean, it's just tasteful, good playing, and then Cricket and them layering all that stuff together. It's good, man. It's some good music.
Well, if Wayne comes on this show, I need him at phase 3. Before he sits in that chair.
What you need to do, we need to do to be probably the most viewed one is get us to me and him in here and have and get us on phase 3.
Yeah, you start phase 2, bring him in at phase 2, and then we'll work his way up.
I can have a bottle of bourbon in here. That's fine.
Man, so much more to talk about. I don't want to wrap it up soon. Blah blah blah. Blah.
You're the only blah. You need I need to talk to.
We're nearing an hour.
I thought that was me for a minute.
You're the only you need I need to talk to.
Right. I'm going to play that again. Do the donkey sound on top of it.
You're the only you need I need to talk to.
Yes. What I'm trying to say is this one might go a little longer because the stage stop stories I know resonates with a lot of people in this audience. It definitely early on when this podcast started growing, thanks to Jeff and bringing certain people in, it just became came up every week. Stage stop, and it feels like it's been a minute. So it's like I want to keep these stories going, but I also don't want to forget talking more about your personal history as far as you mentioned Eddie Van Halen's a huge influence, Wayne Swinny. Any other influences that's come to mind?
Well, I know when I was a little kid, my first memory of like acknowledging a guitar was watching Hee Haw, and I liked watching Roy Clark because of the funny faces he'd make.
Hell of a picker, though.
But I was a little kid, like 4. But even then, like, that dude can play the fuck out of the guitar. But I liked watching him because of his funny faces.
Yep.
But, like, it wasn't lost to me that dude's better than all these other dudes on here. That dude can play the shit
He
out
was
of
making those faces for a reason.
Acting like a clown, but total legit as well.
Yeah, and then, what stuck in my mind, though, was Buck Owens' guitar. I just thought that was
the
sharp
red, white,
as hell.
blue.
Yeah, I could not look at it. I was like, I want to see it. If I heard Hee Haw, I'd run in there just to look at his guitar. But I was such a huge Evel Knievel fan. Yeah. It might have had something to do with it just being red, white, and blue or something. But I just, I love that guitar. And recently, I finally did my own Buck Owens guitar.
Nice.
Yeah, this old Telecaster I had. It was like mint green, this nasty looking. And I was like, man, I'm going to do a Buck Owens. And it came out pretty good.
Cool.
That was my first memory of just, that's a cool guitar. Mm-hmm. So then
and it had that effect on lots of kids.
Yeah.
I never had a desire to play guitar. I knew I couldn't. But just seeing that Red, white, and blue acoustic was cool.
Yeah, and it's like I guess the next guitar influence was when Kiss come out. My first album was a hand-me-down Kiss Alive 1 from my brother, and looking at the pictures, I was like kind of scary, but I was not so much. I was like, I want to see more. Like, but then I heard them. I was like, wow, this is tripping, because my mom usually listen to country music, and I'm like, this is my first like, rock and roll album. This is like, wow, this is killer. And I just wore Kiss Alive out. But I thought Ace Frehley was the coolest, and I didn't think it because of guitar. Even Gene Simmons with the Blood and the Fire, I don't know. For some reason, I was drawn to Ace Frehley. And I thought that he was really playing it so badass that he was burning it up. And I was like, he's the best. That dude burns his guitars up.
So you were just attracted to guitars.
Yes, somehow.
Very early.
Somehow, yeah. And then really what got me playing is a crazy-ass story. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Tim Reeves, but he was a great, great musician. And his grandmother taught him everything when he was 6 years old, and she played in country bands like at Moose Lodges and stuff, and he was playing in an adult band when he was 6, and the guitar was bigger than him, and he's singing and playing the lead to Johnny B. Good.
Nice.
I mean, the kid was just, he could hear anything, something weird like Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. I'd never heard anybody play that song, but he could hear it one time on the radio and just play something strange and weird like that.
Yeah.
And he would always have these fills he would do, even somehow he would fit all this crap in, and it never sounded jumbled. It would sound musical, He was just gifted, very, very gifted. So me and him knew each other from the neighborhood from riding bikes, and I'd known him maybe a year. I'd never really thought about playing guitar. I thought you had to be old man or you had to be old. I didn't know a kid could play.
Yeah.
And I'd known Tim for a year. We went to the same school and rode bikes in the neighborhood. So one day I had a paper route, and it was like I'd come home from school and start folding papers, and I could hear music somewhere close to that spot where they dropped my papers out, and I'd always think myself, why do I not hear the drums? Like it would be a song I recognize, like Barracuda or something like that. And I'm like, I recognize that song, but I think, like, the guy's stereo that's playing, you can't hear the drums. Like, is it an EQ thing? Is he just got one speaker working? I was like, why can't I ever hear nothing but guitar? I just never. So one day, man, it was louder than normal to where I thought I could like find the sound, like. And I'm like, where's that coming from, man? And it was like good sounding guitar, but nothing else. And I just rode up, and it was Tim standing on his front porch with the door open and his amp there playing a brown Gretsch. And I'm sitting there watching him, and I mean, I'm getting chilled when I was telling you about it. I was like, damn, that's you? That's like, I was like, play this, and he played it. Play Crazy Train, he played it. And I was like, I was 1 year older than him, and that was it. When I was like, if he, like, I didn't know a kid could play guitar. I was like, I gotta have a guitar. Like,
game over.
Yeah. That was it. When I realized, like, wow, like my friend can do it, I can't. Fuck it. Give me.
Fuck it. So, how long was it before you got your own guitar?
Shit. With a couple weeks, I mean, that was it. I couldn't sleep. Like, I had to have a guitar.
Obsessed ever since. Yeah.
Now I'm going to pick your brain. What was your first guitar?
A KSG copy with a flat, like it was like pot metal, fake Bigsby. The thing's probably $70 back then. Right. But it looked like Angus Young, so that was cool.
Hey, that's it.
Okay, yep.
But
do you remember where it came from?
Yep, it was a yard sale in my neighborhood about 2 weeks after I seen Tim play.
Well, that's cool.
And it was $50. It was either $100 or $50 for the guitar and amp, and it was a little silver tone 10-watt. It had like just on and off, click and volume, and that's it.
Why couldn't it have been like a 56 gold top?
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're selling, so it's $50. Yeah.
But so I didn't have the money, and I said, I really want this. Like I said, can you save it for me? I don't know. I was begging her. Like I was just about like, I gotta have it. Man, she's probably like, get the hell away from here, little dude, And she goes, if you cut all that crap off my back fence, you can have it. And I didn't know what that shit was. Well, it was poison ivy. And I cut it all off there and was dragging it out to the dance. Man, it was everywhere. It was everywhere.
Oh my God!
And that was
You earned that guitar, sir.
it. Should have been a gold top. I'm gonna tell you what. But that was my first guitar, and what was crazy is Tim, who was great. He knew the names of his chords and everything, but the way his brain would work. And I said this at his memorial, at his funeral. The way that his brain would work, and he could play the shit out of the drums too. He could play anything. He played like on stage in several bands, playing bass, drums, and guitar, and he was above average on everything.
Right.
And I was in several bands with him where he played different instruments, and we were in one band together when like Metallica broke out real big, and he could play the shit out of all that drums, and he had a single bass pedal back then.
Right.
That's what trips me out.
He could do some of the double kick with 1 foot.
Yeah, and I still don't know how the hell he could do that. And he had one of them old, what was one of the most famous foot pedals like in the early 70s? Ludwig Speed King, is that right?
That sounds right.
And today it looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, some of the DW, the early DW 5000s look like dinosaurs too. So they've changed a lot over the years.
but yeah, man, Tim,
Cool.
he can play just anything. I'm losing track of what we were talking about.
Well, just this, your beginnings and your influence, and that's such a neat story, man. You got some great stories today, sir. That's so cool because I love how 2 weeks after this epiphany, when you see your friend Tim play, you see this guitar. It was probably glowing, right? When you saw it.
Yeah.
Did you hear like
something from the
Did you
Pick of
hear
Destiny?
this? Like when you saw it, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
and then you had to have it, and you got it. I just love that story.
Then you did the goat sound and took it with you.
But yeah,
That was after the poison ivy.
I noticed this is what screwed me up is like, so Tim knew what he was doing, and I would like ask him, show me that, and he just couldn't. His brain could not stop him from playing something that sounded good. He didn't have time to go, no.
Yeah.
Like he would just go, this is how you do it, and he'd play, and I'm like, that ain't helping me. I was like, show me that. Then he'd like, when you would say, show me it, he would just play it for you. It wasn't like he taught you a damn thing.
Yeah.
So
Go to
I
the
was
second fret, third fret on the second string.
I was just lost. I didn't even know how to tune, but I'm like, I want to play this. And I started like just listening to tapes and trying to make it sound like what I was hearing. I'd stumble across something, but I still didn't even know how to tune it. So a fluke deal, a friend of mine, I was at his house. Well, his brother had a guitar and he could play a little bit. And this friend of mine, like I said, would your brother show me some stuff? And he goes, no, he's an asshole or whatever. and he goes, I know a couple little things. And he showed me he just knew the intro to Living After Midnight. And it's just that little power chord box. And that was it. From then on, I would just listen to a song till I would figure out my power chord, how to play it some kind of way.
That's the best way.
And then solos, I just started, I don't know, I just started moving my fingers around, and if it sucked, I wouldn't do that again. And that's what I still do every time I touch it. Like
That's the best way to learn, though, is by ear. It really is.
he just, you could tell Tim, like, man, please show me that. Just like, this is how it goes. There it is. Like, okay.
We have got to incorporate "If it sucks, don't do that again" into the show somehow. That's one of the best.
The show wouldn't exist
If it
anymore.
sucks, don't do that again.
We would have ended at like episode 20. No. Man, goodness gracious. Chris Hinkle. Man, I wish we could keep going, but we got to wrap this up, man. There's so much fun, so many fun stories. Yes, you and Wayne Walker in here.
Yeah, for
needs
sure.
to happen. That needs to happen.
Oh, we would do
Make
it.
it happen. And thank you for the stage stop stories. I really feel like Nita and Rick, we need to keep those memories alive.
Yeah.
And this show does that because this will be here,
Forever.
Well, man,
And what a great place. So many of us grew up in that place and had such a great, amazing time. So
Yeah.
it's good to
there's
talk about.
Rascal stories and
Oh, yeah.
Daisy stories too, man. We'll have to
sure.
do it again. I'm telling you, that ain't even scratching the surface. I got some that'll make you cry laughing, a couple of them.
Well, get Wayne.
Get Wayne
I'll
up in
provide
here.
the bourbon.
Oh, there we go. Is that his drink of
I don't
choice?
know. It will be that
I
day.
don't. Wayne drinks beer.
When I see
mostly,
him, he's always double fisting. He's got two.
but I'm not positive about that. I've just always seen him drink beer. But
As long as we get him to phase 3, I don't care how he gets there.
now see, it'll get him to phase 3 faster with bourbon. I bet.
Yeah.
Jeff, you can drive him home.
For sure.
I'll drive him home.
Well, before we say goodbye here, once again to everyone, please join us as we are celebrating our 100th episode with a special live recording filmed in front of a live audience at Rooster's Blues House, Highland, Saturday, June 7th at 3:30 p.m. Find the event link in the description and call 901-430-9890 to reserve your seats.
Follow us at therhythmsectionpod.com where you'll see our entire
You're
catalog.
you need one that I need to talk to.
Our entire catalog of episodes and links to our YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram channels.
And thank you to our sponsors. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, you can email us at therhythmsectionpod2022@gmail.com or reach out to us on Facebook.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who has donated. You can donate to our tip bucket by clicking the Venmo and CashApp links in the description, or simply search the Rhythm Section Pod, or just bring cash to the studio, whatever.
Chris Hinkle bringing the fire today. Man, that was outstanding. Thanks for making the trip down.
Thank
and,
y'all.
yeah, you're going to be on this show again.
I'm gonna say one thing before I get in trouble.
Okay.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Christy. I love you both.
Yes,
All right.
smart. I'll edit that and put it in the front.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank y'all, man.
thank you all for watching and listening. Take care.